Thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Bloom, and I will be your host for today's Heart Energy webinar, Unlocking Workforce Potential, Revolutionizing the Energy Transition with GE Vernova's APM Suite. Now, before we get started, we need to go over just a few housekeeping items to ensure you have an optimal engagement experience during our webinar. You have joined the presentation using your computer speaker system by default. But if you would prefer to join over the telephone, just select phone call in the audio pane, and then the dial-in information will be displayed. Though all attendees are in listen-only mode, we do want to hear from you. You can submit your questions at any time during the presentation by typing them into the questions pane of the GoToWebinar control panel. If the speakers are unable to answer your questions, they will follow up with you and address them individually. And with that, let's get started. We are thrilled to have our esteemed speakers with us today for an in-depth discussion. We will discover how GE Vernova's future-ready solutions enable digitized data collections, informed decision-making with advanced contextual visualizations, and automated analysis and alerts powered by AI. Now, our speakers joining us today are Vipin Nair, the Director of Product Management for GE Vernova, Neha Joshi, Product Leader for AI and ML Analytics with GE Vernova, and Hans Kaufman, Asset Performance Management for Bayer AG. Vipin, Neha, and Hans, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. Can we go to the next slide, please? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. First of all, let me thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us for the webinar. This topic is very near and dear to me, and that's why I'm really excited, especially talking about the workforce. And what makes it more exciting is we have got Hans from one of our strategic customers, Bayer, joining us to discuss the same. So again, we hope that we will be able to cover some of the key topics here, and it should be beneficial for you too. So let's talk about some of the basic, right? Let's take a step back and let's discuss why we chose this topic, which is unlocking the workforce and removing their challenges. So we are all aware of a lot of digital transformation journeys, especially if you talk about asset performance management that we take. And one of the key persona that we leave out is the workforce. And if you look at any digital transformation journey, 80% of the persona would be the actual workforce, who would decide the success of the entire program. So that's why we thought it's important for us to kind of understand their problem statement, the workflows, and how we can make their life better, a lot better. So if you look at the first principles of any asset performance management program from the eyes of a workforce, these are the 4 critical activities that they need to work on. The first is data collection. Second is documentation and integration. The third is analysis of the data, and finally it is taking actions. And this is very close to the plan, do, check, act principle, right? And we'll be mainly focusing on the do, check, and act. And when we talk about workforce, there are several personas that we are talking about, which is inspectors, operators, reliability engineers, even the reliability managers. But one thing which all of them have in common is they're ensuring that the asset is working safely and reliably. So with that, let's look at each of the challenges at each step, right? So if you consider data collection, some of the challenges that we have seen with time or over the period of time is the time that is taken for doing that activity. So if you have to go through a digital transformation journey, you have to ensure that you spend time on collecting the data, which becomes the foundation of the next steps there. And it's always time taking, and it's always we have a problem with the reliability of the data. So the data is bad, it impacts all the steps which is coming after that, and also impacts the risk calculations and also the ability to take action on that. The other is how safe you are when you're collecting the data, right? So we all know all these persona have to be in locations which is not really safe, and you want to minimize the time that they're spending there. So that's also a problem statement, how we can minimize access to unsafe location. And the third one is also paper-based. So historically, the data is primarily paper-based, and we have to convert into connectivity, and then we upload it into the system. So data collection is the primary one. The second is the documentation and integration. So once you collect the data, how you document it and further integrate it to a digital solution. There also the problem statement is very similar, which is time consuming, it can be error prone, and we have also seen that it is disintegrated. So the data is stored in multiple databases, and we have seen challenges with integrating all the data set into one database. The third step is analysis. So once you have the data, how you're able to analyze the data so that you can take actions based on that. And finally, the action management. So the recommendations or the action management, how you're tracking it and how you're ensuring that you're taking actions at the right time. So there's issues with it get delaying if your analysis is not correct, and it can take to a reactive mode, and also it becomes a challenging to scale it up when you're talking of multiple sites and multiple plans. So one thing which is very clear from this slide or with this step is that if you face an issue with one step, it can be a cascading effect and impact the further step in the process. And you can see that the workforce, be it the inspectors or operators, will be using one or facing challenges in one of these steps on their day-to-day activities. So that takes us to the challenges, which is obviously the lower productivity, inaccurate decisions, poor visibility of the data if it is not integrated well, and if you don't have a mobile solutions, it impacts the time it takes to collect the data. And finally, all of them leads to safety and compliance issues here. So with that, we can get into the next slide. So the previous slides talk about the various steps and the various challenges, but what it looks like from an individual outcomes and the organizational outcomes, right? So let's talk it at the workforce level. So we all get the latest application and we think it will solve our problems, but we always miss to address the challenges that we saw in the previous slide, and which leads into poor employee engagement, job satisfaction, and which finally result in the lower adoption of the digital tools. We at GE Vernova, assumes the product adoption is a key metric, and at times when we look why the product has not been adopted, one of the primary things that we do see is the application has not been adopted well due to their which impacts the job satisfaction of the employee, and finally it leads into increase in the EHS risk for that individual also. So those are the individual outcomes which is unaddressed because of these challenges. And if you look at the organizational level, if you have an employee who is not engaged and where the satisfaction is low, it leads into asset downtime, right? And also it increases the O&M cost, which is the operating and maintenance cost of that asset. And then at an organizational level, we do see that the return of investment is not met, and we finally see that the digital transformation journey becomes a failure, which finally impacts the energy transition initiators within your organization. So you can see all the individual outcomes which is impacting your workforce will finally impact your organizational outcomes too. So with those two slides, now I would like to interact with Hans, who's still in the call, and ask him about some of his experience. So Hans, we have been talking about this for last few years, right? And by has been our customer since late 2000s, and it's been almost more than 10 years that you have been a customer with us. And you started your journey with a thick client, and now you're finally upgraded to the cloud version of asset performance management. And one of the topics that we typically communicate or we try to improve is the end user adoption and usability. In this case, it's the workforce adoption itself. So does some of these elements resonate with you, and does these were some of these challenges similar in your case too over the last 10 to 12 years, Hans?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yes, Vipin, you're right. So I've been with Bayer 10 years now. And actually, when we started the 3.6 journey, I wasn't there, right? So I was one of the workforce, that had to adapt to some of these things. And what we've seen over time is, we had different parts of the company coming in, acquisitions happening, and we had a 3.6 and a 4.3 system that we had to, merge the two systems together and get the best out of it. And yes, happy to say that we're currently on the cloud version, which was recently completed. But it's, the workforce is, and I think it will stay a challenge for us, right? And one part of it is really we have the workforce aging, right? And getting that information transferred from one user to the next. I think that's been one of the benefits that we've definitely seen, and one of those things which we've definitely tried to ensure, that we pass on the quality of the work that was done in the past, and of course then by doing that provide the necessary transparency in the journey forward, right?
Thanks, Hans. Just probing into that first question, on the workforce side of it. So we just talked about the data collection and integration. And I think, is it fair to say that most of the workforce spent maximum of their time on those first two steps, that, it gives them less time on the analysis and the action management side of it? Is that something which also has been the case of Bayer over the period of time, and it still can be challenging if we do not solve it in the right way, which is the data collection and integration piece of it?
That's right. So some of these activities are quite intensive, right? We have to, let's say you take FMEAs, for instance, it's quite intensive, and of course we try and document the why we do things, right? It takes some time. But I think one of the things is also sharing the knowledge, right? That's where we try and do that. But you're quite right. There's ways of doing things, and we've learned over time. There's better ways of doing things as well. And of course, the data is important, but it's only as good as using it, right? And making sense out of the data. So definitely, we're seeing less people doing more. Generally speaking, and of course it's going to be a continued challenge going forward.
Thank you, Hans. Let's get into the next slide. So that brings us to, we discussed about the challenges, we discussed about what the challenges can lead to. Now let's just talk about the GE Vernova's APM suite, which provides multiple of application, right, supporting different functions, which could be APM mechanical integrity, which is to empower your integrity function, which is your inspection department. We provide a reliability suite of solutions, which is focused towards your reliability engineers. And then we have an entire APM health, which brings in all the data to give you a unified view of your health. And also APM safety, which is very much targeted to your instrumentation function. So the point is, we bring to you all different solution set which is needed to run a safe and reliable plant. And the message that we want to communicate in this slide is it supports your individual functions. So for example, if you have your mechanical integrity team, we would have the best in class RBI solutions or inspection management solutions or a corrosion management solution to support that function. At the same time, we do have the world best-in-class RCM, FMEA solutions to support your reliability team. But what makes us separate, or what makes us unique, is that we are integrating all this solution into one solution, which is called APM. And we call it as interoperability as a term, but basically you can support multiple function in order to ensure the reliability of a plant itself, right? So now you have functions working together to form a plant and ensuring the reliability of a plant, a site, or a unit. And then eventually the vision is to how to scale it up to an enterprise level. So that brings us to the third circle there, which is the enterprise program. So you have functions supporting an individual plant or unit, and then eventually multiple plants or units and sites becoming an enterprise. And that's the differentiator, right? So if you don't have one of these functions, your entire program at a corporate level will become a failure over a period of time. So we have seen, the best-in-class application, which will be best in an RBI solution or an RCM solution, which caters to one function, but it typically will not scale to a plant level. And if it is not scaled to a plant level, then I do not have the view of all the plants that is in my enterprise or in my fleet. And that's the value that we have to, we are focusing through the GE Vernova's APM suite. And, with that, I think, again, I will take the question back to Hans, because Bayer is a classic example of this enterprise solution, because they have functions, multiple functions, they have multiple plants and sites, and they are trying to monitor it from a corporate level to ensure that they have a safe and reliable enterprise. So Hans, getting back to you, over the last 10 years, I know, we started with functions and then eventually to plants and enterprise level, right? And we have talked about the requirement of something in NR13 in Brazil is different from, say, in Europe, from a European inspection, right? So you have needs of each sites, but at the end of the day, the overall requirement at an enterprise level remains same, which is to have your plant reliable and safe. So does this resonate as you kind of start your journey with this thin client and your cloud, right? As you bring in multiple sites together.
Yeah, that's right, Vipin. So, from a enterprise perspective, we have quite a couple of sites in there. We have some sites that are only starting. We have some sites that are quite mature at the moment, right? And the learnings, the little picture you have on the screen there with the enterprise, that dot in the middle, I see that as a learning from one another and expanding some of the learnings across the enterprise. So that's definitely where we see some of the benefits of having a enterprise system, and also starting small and going bigger, right? That's been the approach along the way for a long time, and thereby maturing and becoming better at what we do. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we've acknowledged that as well. But that's part of the way we try to collaborate internally, and also to become better and at our adoption rate, and also ensuring the better collaboration at the sites.
All right, thanks, Hans. Just on this, expanding on the same, right? I think when we were like on the thick client side, we were talking about different databases, different sites, but now with your move to cloud, now you have an enterprise view of what's happening across multiple sites. So just probing it a bit more, from now in the next 3 to 5 years, Hans, what would be the vision from an organization perspective, from asset performance management, now that you have a starting point with cloud solutions which is supporting multiple sites?
Yeah, so maybe just going back to the some of the previous comments, it is where we started is different approaches in some sites, right? So, and then we had these two databases coming together, and then we needed to find a common approach going forward, right? So we have that now. It's been quite an effort, and for us at the moment, it's really to ensure that, let's say, the new process is accepted. That's the first and foremost what we try and do. And then, of course, going forward, like I mentioned, those sites that are new, we're going to take them forward and we're going to support them. And also, you spoke about the workforce initially, right? So the workforce changing, we want to keep the standard in some of the places where we have seen the maturity. And of course, where in other places where the guys are starting new, we have to pick it up and do that. But, having one standard, it has all the benefits of, ensuring that we can become better together, right? Instead of doing things on our own. And that really makes sense for us to collaborate going forward.
Great. Thank you, Hans. I think I really like the word of better together, which I think is the purpose of having an enterprise solution, right? Thank you, makes sense. And we get into the next slide now. Okay, so with this, now we'll talk about specific capabilities that we have introduced within Vernova's APM capabilities with respect to mobility visualization and also the AI-powered image analytics, again, which is really focusing on how to boost the workforce effectiveness, efficiency, and also improving their safety. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the first topic, which is mobility. For this session, we'll focus on Integrity Mobile, which is a solution which we got to market 2 years back, and we have seen few customers starting to adopt it. But what is it? Basically, it's a mobile application that is really targeted towards the workforce who is inspectors, the inspector persona and the inspection leaders persona, and to improve their efficiency by digitizing and also streamlining the entire process of data collection. So it goes back to the first step that we saw earlier today, which is the data collection. And this app is really targeted to improve the efficiency of the inspector workforce. And what is this bringing, right? So this is, as we all know, when you do inspection, which is compliance or regulatory related, the information is key, right? Planning is key. So when you plan for an inspection, you have to ensure that you have the right information from its GA drawing, from its inspection history, with its previous images, etc. And you want all of them in place when the inspector is out there inspecting that asset. Till now, it's like multiple documents and a lot of effort. But with this app, we are trying to bring all this information into one place where you can see the GA drawing, we can visualize the previous inspection history. You can also visualize the images and annotate on them. So the unified view is critical for better planning and better understanding. The second is visualization of the scope of work. So it's very different when you read what needs to be done versus visualizing the same with respect to the GA drawing of the asset. So that's what we call it as the schematic visualization. So where you can annotate what needs to be done, and on the same drawing, you can also annotate what was done on the asset during inspection. And then finally, we'll talk a lot about images, but this app is very much focused on to enable to take images, not only to take images, but also how you can annotate them and tag them. So that the same information can be visualized in your desktop version. And later, when we talk about the AI or the image analytics, we will talk about how these images can be now used more intelligently and how this data set can be used more effectively across your enterprise. So those are the three capabilities, which is having a unified view to bring in this, understand the scope, history, and also how to visualize what needs to be done. And the third is the image capture, annotation, and tagging. So this goes back to also the challenges of the workforce, of aging workforce, right? So let's say that starting in the next coming years, your workforce will be retiring and there'll be a new workforce. How can you quickly enable them about the inspection history of that asset becomes key. So, and our design of the application is entirely based on that premise that there will be a shift in workforce, and we have to enable them quicker and faster. And also the kind of data that we are bringing in will be more of unstructured, which is textual data, image data, and we will also ensure that you can use this data more effectively. Like you can easily search those images, you can easily understand what was inspected, and these capabilities would ensure that we are enabling that critical workforce of inspectors moving forward. So it quicken your data collection, you can access critical information, and eventually you want to ensure that your inspectors are not spending a lot of time in the field, thus improving the worker safety. So with that, on this topic, with the Bayer, we have been talking about a small pilot, and the intent is to ensure that we try it out with one of their site and then eventually roll it out. But Hans, I want to kind of take it back to you that one of the critical workforce for Bayer using APM is your inspection department, and and we have talked about how this mobile app could potentially improve their productivity and safety. Any insights on how you look at mobile application, and what's your vision when you talk about mobile solutions for your inspectors?
Yeah, so Vipin, I think maybe first the general topic about mobility, right? We have some sites that they don't have Wi-Fi, so very important for us is of course the offline capability. So some of those things are quite essential for the guys to be able to execute their work at the site. Also, for us, like I mentioned before, we came from a 3.6 system, so some of the technology at the time was quite old, and maybe things weren't working as good as it should have been. We should have maybe upgraded sooner. So we're really excited to try this out and doing the POC at the moment. And then, of course, another aspect also is, the multiple languages, right? That's always something generally we like to make sure, and of course, the IT things need to work basically. But, very important at the end of the day, the guy doing the work, executing it, this is really where we see the biggest benefit, and the people's or accepting the tools, right? This is where we really see that benefit coming forward.
Absolutely. Thanks, Hans. I think I left out two key pieces here, which is the ability of this mobile app to work in a offline mode, which is you can still carry out your data collection even if there is no network connectivity. And the second is localization. I know we did not talk about it too loudly, but localization is a key success criteria, right? We have to remember, if you're running an enterprise level application, localization is one of the design tenants. So even with Integrity Mobile, we have tried to ensure that we can support multiple languages. And thanks for calling that out, Hans. And we hope that the proof of concept is successful and we can scale it up to multiple sites. Can we go to the next slide, please? Then comes the contextual visualization. So visualization can be of various forms. So it can be a simple query results. It's a tabular format. It could be a dashboard, which is a combination of multiple query results or widgets. It could be a graph. But what we are talking here is the spatial visualization or the contextual visualization, right? To see the data with respect to its the location itself, because that makes a lot of difference. And we have heard it loud and clear from our customers that how the data is visualized helps them in multiple steps of the asset performance management, right from planning or even analysis of the data or the execution of the data. So for that, there are two components. The first one is 3D visualization, which is in partnership which we have with Visionize, which is another third-party vendor. We are partnering with them, and we are providing a packaged solution which will enable to view APM data in a 3D format. And some of the benefits of this is that it is integrated with APM, and we would mimic the asset hierarchy for the assets map from APM. So similar to the EAM interface, we will also support the asset hierarchy within this new solution. We have primarily looked into the use cases within health and mechanical integrity. And just to talk about some of the use cases is you can now visualize the corrosion loops in a 3D format. We can visualize the corrosion monitoring locations of an asset in a 3D format. We can also fetch the corrosion analysis summary or the RBI risk or the asset health information. And when we say asset health, it is nothing but the integrity operating window limits for that asset. So now if you look at MI, we have all the information that is important to run an MI program that you can visualize on a 3D format or from a contextual perspective. So as I said, we have started this integration with mechanical integrity, but you can extend it to other workflows, especially health, reliability, and strategy. So again, if I connected this with the workforce, it is very critical for them at the time of data collection so that they know exactly where they need to inspect or go and collect the data. But it's also important when they do their analysis piece of it so that they can do action on it, right? So this visualization takes an important step in these two critical steps, which is data collection and analysis of the data set. But it's also important to call out a 2D visualization component because we might not need 3D visualization for all your asset or all your sites, and sometimes just a 2D visualization is also helpful. So I do wanted to call out that we have an add-on to mechanical integrity, especially on the thickness monitoring module, to give you a 2D visualization or a 2D visualization context of your thickness measurement locations. Again, this is targeted to reduce your risk, also to improve your worker safety, and also towards a faster instant resolution from visualizing the data set. With that, I think I'll hand it over to Neha. Can we go to the next slide just to make sure that is, yes. So Neha, I'll hand it over to you from here. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to introduce the latest addition to our APM Vernova portfolio. It's a AI-based image analytics solution for industrial automated inspection and for the industrial assets. Autonomous inspection is a cloud-based application which is add-on to our APM essential platform. At a very high level, the solution actually leverages the cameras, stationary cameras or mobile cameras. It takes the pictures, automatically uploads it to the cloud. The application is running at the cloud side, and at cloud, it analyzes the images. It converts the readings or the data to time series data, as well as it publishes APM alerts based on the threshold levels or based on the readings that customer want to monitor. Automation is a key word here. So entire end-to-end solution is automated. As a part of our GA solution, we are releasing 4 use cases: gauge reading, thermal profiling, corrosion detection and classification, and we also have MCC panel reading capability, which is in a pilot stage at this point. And it will be more clearer in the next slide when I talk more about each of these machine learning models. The key here is it is cloud-based solution running AI ML algorithms with our APM cloud. Next slide, please. So when we are releasing this product, it is packed with a lot of capabilities and features. The main capabilities that you see here are, asset identification and data extraction. What that means is we are asset agnostic. What that means is our machine learning model will understand as soon as it gets the image and analyzes that image through our learning model, deep learning models. It understands what type of asset it is looking at. In the first picture, you see that it has recognized 3 gauges. The idea here is the machine learning model will understand the needle position based on the image that it has taken. So it understood there are 3 gauges, circular gauges. We also support square gauges. It understands the needle position, and the machine learning model here in this case is going to give you the readings, like the current needle position as a reading. It will put that information into time series. Customers can set up threshold levels, such as like when the needle position reaches at certain point, send me an alert, send me an APM alert, and it's going to work on that. So it is per customer basis. They can set up these kind of threshold levels. So they don't have, the idea here is they don't have to send someone to get these readings. The readings can be automatically extracted from the image analytics solution. So that's the idea. In case of thermal profiling, what happens is it understands the number of regions that are configured on that image, and the machine learning algorithm is going to profile the hot spots and cold spots for each region, and it's going to send an alert. Again, same example, like it's going to send an alert with either it reaches above or below the threshold values that customers have set up. And the current readings, like hot spots and coldest spots in that region, will be posted to the time series data. So these are this is the thermal profiling use case. In case of defect detection and classification, so this particular capability understands the changes happening over time on an asset. In this case, it understands, this is, first of all, it understands it is flange and pipe in the second bottom left picture. So it understands that there is a flange and there is a pipe, and there are changes happening on the surface level. So it understands the corrosion. There is a corrosion happening. It not only understands that, it also classifies the severity of that corrosion and what each level of severity and how much percentage it has corroded on the external side. So external corrosion or cracking, if there are any changes in the asset surface level. So that's the visually, whatever you can see, the machine learning model is going to identify that as well. In the third case, in the third capability, integration and alerting capabilities, we have integrated with our APM alerts. So whenever customers are setting the threshold values, we send those alerts, and our customers are used to follow the workflow where they know how to claim the alert, create a case out of that, and then assign that work to the worker. So that's the workflow usually our customers are used to follow. So they will continue to follow that. Main thing to note here is our application is part of our entire APM suite. So there is no separate login. So you can actually use the same login to our solution, and you can integrate with our existing modules like APM Integrity or APM Reliability Plus or APM Health, and you can see the data through time series integration. One of the things that we saw during our POCs and pilots, this is recently launched product, VGA, in Q1 of 2024. What we have seen, customers when they are using this in a POC or a pilot stage, they were able to save a lot of time and efforts sending someone on site to take these readings. As you can see that the computer or computer vision, we are collecting images and processing those through our cloud solution. So the the inspectors can actually spend more time in data management and doing the data analysis. So from Bipin's earlier slide, if you remember, the data collection was like a biggest challenge in the field, what we have seen. So we are trying to tackle that challenge, so spend less time in collecting the data, but spend more time in doing the analysis and then finding the predictive side of it, finding the predictive doing the predictive diagnostics. So data management, identifying trends and patterns, and initiating the needed interventions are not needed in this case. And receiving the automated alert is a biggest thing, because now they don't have to wait, but they can actually set up the alerts based on certain readings, and they don't have to really have the asset fail, but they don't have to go till that end. They can actually predict, and they can take preventive actions even before that happening. So that's the idea behind coming up with this solution, that is AI-powered image analytics solution. Next slide, please. So with that, I think by now you probably have understood, where we are coming from. The major value here is around automation, so faster and cost-effective detection of the response. So we detect early, act fast, and take the action, right? So that is improving the customer's automation flow. It also increases the situation awareness. Faster and timely interventions can enable better asset uptime, and also the lifetime of the asset. It reduces the maintenance and operation and the mobilization cost. So for example, during one of our POC stage, what we have seen is customers, they used to get the images and they were processing those images, finding the corrosion rate and the severity of that corrosion. Then they would talk to their QC inspectors, and they would go back and forth with the corrosion level analysis before they create an action plan for maintenance workers to do. What we have seen in a POC environment, where we got hold of similar images, but then we were able to process those images, get the results, and the turnaround time was from weeks to 30 minutes. So what we have shown them is the fastest way of, or the automated way of doing things. So I think the time is the value. Saving time is the value for in this case. Improve worker productivity and safety area. Of course, now they don't have to send someone to remote places. So what we have seen in our pilot stage, when we were working with the customer, and that customer actually went into production with our application, they had remote site where they were inspecting their thermal transformer area, and they had to send someone or in an unsafe area to get the readings. Now they don't have to do that. They are using infrared cameras to monitor their thermal site, and they are actually using this thermal profiling, where they get automated alerts when the temperature reaches at certain value. So the worker safety is number one in this case, so they can free up their resources and then focus more on doing the analysis or the historical analysis for those areas. It of course boosts the worker safety, eliminate the risk of any hazardous inspections. They don't have to climb up to take any readings. That is also eliminated with this. So overall, they achieve their productivity as well as safety for their workers. And driving better business outcomes, because everything is integrated with our APM applications. They can get the holistic view of their industrial asset. They don't have to jump to different applications to get the visual insight. So Earlier, like before autonomous inspection application was introduced, they were getting data from all other areas. With autonomous inspection, now they get one more extra data point, or we like to call it like I for our APM solution is autonomous inspection, because now they get visual insights for that same asset in the asset hierarchy. Um, so it's more holistic view again, and you can monitor the same asset using our asset 360 as well. So overall, we see that doing the historical analysis, getting access to last 2 years of images with this product, they can drive a better business outcomes with visual insights as well. So that's the idea behind bringing this powerful AI image analytics solution to the market. So with that, I would like to ask Hans. Hans, now that you know about our AI-powered solution, what do you think about these AI-powered technologies in general, like autonomous inspection? How could potentially be it will be used in your sense? Like what is your take on that?
Yeah, so I think it's a hot topic, just generally speaking, right? The whole AI and what it means, and in certain cases there's maybe a bit of a concern because people don't know, and I think there also for us very important is to understand how it works, right? And also to make the learnings and to improve. But I think the examples you showed is quite good in the sense that it's saving time. So if we can save time, that'll be great. The other parts where I also see some of the data that's out there, whether it's a image, picture is 1,000 words, or whether it is the wording that the guys have written in the past, and how we can extract some of the data and use it in inspections, again saving time. So I like the ideas, and we're always exploring and wanting to become better. So I guess for now we're not there yet, but in the future, definitely we're always interested in these kind of new technologies.
Awesome. Thank you, Hans. Next slide, please. I think it is back to Bipin.
Thank you, Neha. I think images. Even the first thing is that even if we are able to search images against an asset, and if they can bring back with all the history of it, that'll be great, Neha. So thank you for talking about the AI-powered image analytics. So I wanted to kind of bring back to where we started, right? Since we are towards the end of the webinar, where we discussed about the challenges, we discussed about some of the solutions, we discussed about journey of buyer as a customer over the last 10 years with the implementing asset performance management. This is just a view of the application itself, right? So we provide a foundational or the essential layer which helps you to with integration with your EAM system, with your OT and IT data. We help you with different elements of visualization. We help you with actioning. We call it as recommendation management or the anomaly management. So those are some of the fundamental layers. But then it helps you support your multiple work processes, and that's what you see on the top as asset health solution, reliability, strategy, integrity, and safety. Again, these are all aimed to make your site or asset run safely and reliability. It is just focused on different personas, but the intent of all these modules or all these applications remains same. Today we touched upon the workforce or the personas who will be interacting with all these solutions across, be it inspectors, be it operators, be it reliability managers or instrumentation engineers, right? Regardless, what are some of the horizontal challenges that we have seen, and we touched upon some of the solutions which is primarily designed to ensure that we are alleviating some of these problems from from the workforce itself. So we did discuss about how the mobility can improve your data collection route, how the contextual visualization can better help you visualize the data and support you in different parts of your work processes. And then finally, Neha touched upon the AI-powered image analytics, which is the next capability that we can do once you get into the cloud and once you enable the basic fundamental challenges. So, and then finally, what all it kind of drives you towards is to improve your safety and keep up with your compliance work. So that's where I would like to kind of end the content the content of today's webinar. And with that, I would like to get to the Q&A, Jordan, if you're okay with that.
Yes, thank you so much, Vipin, Neha, and Hans. Yeah, now it is the time for the Q&A portion of the webinar. So we will open up the floor to questions. Again, you can submit your questions by typing them into the questions pane in the control panel. I'll give you just a little bit of time for that, but we have a first question coming up. Let me ask, how does GE help customers on their migration to cloud? What have been some of the early benefits for these customers?
Okay, I think I can take that question. So again, the migration to cloud it's not a easy task, right? So it does needs pre-work, and we have an entire work process to support our customers to migrate from an on-prem installation to cloud. Because now we have to talk about some of the customizations that they have had. We have to talk about the cybersecurity. We have to ensure our cloud solution is capable of or meeting their business requirements. So we have to do an exhaustive front-end study or the feed study where we take them through all these elements, and then we finally support them from migrating from their on-prem installation to the cloud side of it. But once they get into the cloud, the early benefit is definitely that becomes your last upgrade basically, and they always get the latest and greatest version of our application. So starting day one of cloud, they're always on the latest version. And if you see any, if you are looking at some enhancement, we are able to deploy those enhancements for our customers pretty easily. And then the entire management of the application is on GE Vernova, right? And the customer can then really focus on the actual results or the analysis of the application rather than managing the application. So those are a few of the early benefit, which is being on the latest and greatest software and letting GE manage the application for you. John.
Very good. Let me ask another. Do you need a separate license for the Integrity Mobile, or do APM Integrity users get access to this app by default?
Yeah, so John, great question. So this will be an add-on, so it will not be automatically available to our customers. So we'll have to, it will be an add-on or a separate license to a mechanical integrity module. I think, Jordan, I think there's one question which I would like to take also, if that is okay. So I think there's a question, if you don't mind. So the question is from Adnan Safi, who asked that, is this a cloud solution? It is a standalone or a must be a part of GE APM? For existing customer, when will this be activated? So if you don't mind, I'll take that question because I found it interesting. So let me kind of take a shot at it. And I believe, Adnan, you're asking about all the three solutions, which is Integrity Mobile, autonomous inspection, and contextual visualization. So image analytics, which Neha talked about, it's only a cloud solution. It's not available on-premise. It's not a standalone solution, and it's a part of GE APM, but it will not be automatically activated because it's a separate add-on or a license, and we will have to get in touch with our CSM or to this team or to the account team onto enabling this or activating this. The other two solutions, Integrity Mobile and the contextual visualization, that is available both in cloud and on-premise. but rest of the answers remain same. It is a part of GAPM, and you'll have to reach out to the account team to activating it. Sorry, I just took that question, Jordan. Go ahead if there is any other question.
Yeah. Just moving along, let me ask, is the GE APM solution on cloud agnostic to any cloud infrastructure?
So great question. So our cloud solution is hosted and powered by AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, right? That's where we are hosting it. But we do have customers also deploying our solutions in their private cloud too. Yeah. But our own cloud solution is supported in AWS. And I think Adnan said it was too fast for me, so let me repeat it. The AI image analytics is a cloud-only solution, right? And it's a part of GAPM. And for activating the same, you will have to get in touch with the account team, or you can send an email to this team today, because it's an add-on to the existing solution set.
Very good. Let me move to another question. This is, we're exploring use cases where AI can help us automate some manual workflows, and solutions like autonomous inspection appear promising, but we're not sure how to move ahead to realize some meaningful business impacts and returns. Can you help?
Yeah, I think I can take that. Very good question. I think with the new AI and ML and Gen AI, everybody is overwhelmed with those terms, and they don't know where to start and figure out use cases. So I would say that work with us. We can definitely help on discovering the problems that are worth solving. So we always call it like problems worth solving. So we can definitely work on that and find out the high priority areas where such type of automation would help in your current existing work process. So not the solution may not help in every situation, but we can definitely get the idea on your high priority problems that can be solved using autonomous inspection type of solution. So that's like a discovery session. With that, you can also work. Then we can move forward with the small POC or a pilot or a implementation, where how many cameras or how many, we can sort those out. And like this is AI ML, right? So any type of AI ML work module, you need to train those. So more you train, it more gets better. So that's the idea. So similarly with image analytics solution, you have to train it. Training is not like a longer process. It would take like maybe 3 to 4 weeks to train the models to get to the right expectations, and you can start realizing the value since then. So overall, I would say that the return on investment, or seeing the value that after you implement solution like autonomous inspection, it shouldn't take more than 4 to 6 weeks. You can start seeing value. You can start small with few cameras or few capturing devices, and then you can expand it later as well. So that's the idea. Thank you.
Very good. I know we're running out of time for questions, so I did want to hand things back over to Vipin for a final statement before we close things out.
No, thank you. No, first of all, I want to thank everyone who joined today's session, but also specifically to Hans. Thanks for joining us and answering the question and sharing your experience with the asset performance management. But as I said, you can scan to access our demo hub, to the brochure, to Integrity Mobile and autonomous inspection. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. So with that, thank you so much for attending today's session.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Vipin and everyone else. If we did not get to your questions, or should you have any additional questions, please send them to the contact info provided in the presentation. Thank you all again for joining today's Heart Energy webinar featuring GE, Vernova, and Bayer AG. I really enjoyed our discussion and learned a lot today, and I hope you did too. If you would like to rewatch this webinar, an email with a link to watch on demand will be shared with you once it's available. Thank you very much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thank you.